Hey everyone. Um, so today I'm going to be doing a virtual contest. I'm going to do this morning's Codeforces Division 3. How's the stream doing in terms of quality? Is it watchable and stable? Okay, cool. It seems like the stream is stable now. Um, okay, great. I guess once we have a couple more viewers, I'll just take a couple minutes to give people a chance to trickle in, and I'll make sure the Codeforces stream sidebar is working. Oops. Lower your encoder settings. Okay. It looks like I did have a couple hiccups in my stream. So let me try okay, I guess it seems like it's fine now. Cool. So I'll register for a virtual contest. Maybe I made this countdown a little long. But I guess I can use this time to try to understand if my stream is having any issues. Which it looks like it isn't, which is good. By the way, did anybody in the chat actually do this contest? Curious if anyone did it this morning, or I guess maybe last night, depending on your time zone. Hi. Yeah, so Neil's in the chat. I did actually see that he did this contest this morning. Cool. By the way, is the users in chat thing weird for anyone else? When I click it, I only see like 2 users, but there are more viewers than that. Um, so I'm a little confused. Anyways, I guess I'll try to get started on the contest now, or in 20 seconds. Awesome. Yeah, glad you can tune in. And oh, logged out users aren't in chat. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Neil. All right. Dun, dun. Oh, does that not work? Oh, my computer is super slow. All right, so hopefully, cool. So A was accepted. Wow, this problem looks a lot like the previous one. So you can remove a substring. The sum of digits. Oh. So I guess we want to put 987 at the end. Um, do we ever not want to do that? Like if we put 9, yeah, no, I think that's what we want to do. All right, so I guess we're halfway through the contest by problem count, but probably not by time, assuming the problems are going to be getting harder. Wait, that's hilarious. Can you unpack my solution? Oh, Nadim Sheikh, thanks for the follow. Okay, so you add an element to its neighbor, and then you remove that element. Okay, so you basically combine two adjacent elements. Mr. Bam, thanks for the follow. Um, okay, so we're combining 3 and 1, then we're combining 4 and 6, then we're combining 6 and 2, and then we're combining those elements. What's the minimum operations to make all elements of A equal? Okay. So, okay, so it seems like we could go through all the divisors of the sum of these numbers. Um, so we know the answer has to be one of those divisors, and I think we can check a given target answer in linear time. Oh, we want to find the minimum number of elements. Oh, 7 Sasha, thanks for the follow. Wow, this is kind of messy. Um, so sum over target is the number of blocks, and we want to do n minus 1. We have n blocks to start with, and then every operation reduces the number of blocks by 1. So this should work, but it's kind of inelegant. Okay, let's see. Yes, the answer here should be 3. The sum is 6. Sum over target is 2. So that should give 2. Oh, whoops. So you always add the current element. Okay. Okay, cool. So that got accepted. Oh, let's save that, I guess. Okay. So now let's read E1. K equals 2 and M equals 3. Oh, now K could be like whatever. Okay. So we have a sequence, so it's not a permutation. We want to find tuples. The maximum number in the tuple differs from the minimum. Okay, and M is 100, so that's like the small number here, so we probably want to think about that one. Oh wow, I just read what Neil said, so I got super lucky. Like, my solution is exactly correct, but I didn't understand the signature of that function. I've never used it before. I figured it would take a beginning and an end the way that most like algorithm stuff takes like a beginning and an end iterator. The sequence. Okay. So what do we want to do here? Oh, and some of the elements could be equal. Okay, so I guess we want to consider every um, so we want to sort all the elements, and then for every element, we want to consider if this is or I guess for every range of values, of k values, we want to figure out how many tuples fit into that range, and have one point at like the low point of that range. Oh, whoops, that's not even. Okay, I'll do E2. Wow, this contest is all multi-tests. Int nmk, read nmk, and then vian. Okay. And then we're going to need mod num for this. And I guess the initial order of the array doesn't even matter, so let's start by sorting A. Okay, cool. So next, yeah, so then we want to consider every every window of size k. So I'll just make a new thing called distinct. Um, oh, and I guess we want to avoid overcounting here. So we do want to make sure we include at least one copy of the smallest element. So int first equals lower bound. So we're going to find the first element that's greater than or equal to v. Then we're going to find the last element by finding the, guess I'll do start and then I guess so we want to find so this would be the first element that's too big. And then this will be the number of things that are the same as start. So then we want to figure out how many ways we can choose m elements from these. So that would be n minus start, choose m, times the number of ways to order those m elements. And then we want to subtract out the stuff that doesn't use one of the first things. So I guess I can actually even do it like this. And this should be right. Not 100% sure, but we can try it. All right, so clearly something's wrong. Let's try a little debugging. So we'll try the first example. So in the first example, we want to find 3 elements where the range is going to be 2. And these are elements 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's saying from 1, the most we can do would be 3. That's correct. Start and end. Yeah, so there's 3 elements that we're allowed to use. And 1. Oh, I see. These need to be ordered. So I need to remove this times m factorial factor. Let's see if that makes sense. So I outputted 12, which is 6 times more. Yeah, okay, cool. And then like here I outputted 480, which is 24 times more. Okay, cool. So let's submit. Okay, great. There's only one more problem. Let's see how we're doing on the standings. Maybe I should look at this after the contest, but Am I anywhere near the top? Oh, 32. I guess not bad. Oh, shit. I can also submit this for E1. I forgot about that. Uh, oh, wrong answer. What? It's actually a good thing I looked at the standings, I guess, because it told me that I. Okay. So they don't give you these values. You have to write them yourself. Is this right? K equals 2, M equals 3. Okay. It's kind of annoying. I think it's better style if they yeah, forgot to do E1. Oh, and you don't need to output the answer by okay, thanks a lot. Um this is so annoying actually. Okay. So M equals 3. All right. I don't mean to be too much of a whiner, but this seems like bad design. Because I feel like I don't even need to say why it's bad design, but I feel like if you do the hard subtask, you shouldn't have to do anything extra to do the easy subtask after that. Look, it took me 3 minutes just to do the easy subtask. I didn't even move up. Amazing. Okay. 3 minutes. Well, so it is 3 minutes, but on the other hand, normally it's literally like 10 seconds because you should be able to submit the exact same code for both. So having to make any changes at all and getting a wrong submission because of something is kind of annoying. Typically, people won't even read the easy subtask sometimes if they feel good about the hard one. Is that comment a complaint thread? If so, I'm going to chime in after the stream. Or maybe I'll chime in during the stream. Alright, end segments. Okay. Oh, this seems kind of tricky. So you have a set of... Right, time to draw a picture. So... Well, it just takes practice, Cosmic RX. I'd be happy to be faster a year from now too. So we have 1 to 2, 2 to 3. I'm doing the second sample. 3 to 5. And then 4 to 5. Okay, and the answer here is supposed to be 1, I guess. Okay, so if we eliminate this one, then all the remaining ones intersect. But how do we see if... Hmm... Okay, so I think what we can do is, given a set of segments... Hmm... So I'm thinking given a set of segments, we can check if it's good, I think, in linear time after sorting. So if you consider the segments ordered by left endpoint, so that would be like this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, then something has to intersect with the first one. And then if you consider all the segments, so only segments that intersect with the first one are valid. Oh, I guess, is that even... No, so I guess you want to consider whichever segment ends first is kind of your... So whichever one has the earliest endpoint, that's your limiting factor for the left bound of your segment. And then whichever one starts last is your other limiting factor. And then you have to check to see if there exists a segment that does span both of those. And I think that should be pretty straightforward. You can just iterate through all the segments. Um, of course, that's not that fast if we want to consider like some queries on top of this, which we might need to do to solve the overarching problem. Um, oh, Pradyuman, thanks for the follow. Oh, and Sicilian Salad, who I missed earlier. All right, let's look at another example. So we have 1, 2, 3, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 9, 10, which is like clearly not useful. So in this case, we have to delete two things. I guess we can delete 1, 2, and 9, 10, and then 3, 8 intersects with everything. I guess we can consider each choice of the special segment. So we need a special segment to intersect everything. So if we consider each choice of the special segment, maybe we can eliminate all the segments that don't intersect with it. So a segment wouldn't intersect with it if either the right endpoint is before the start of it or the left endpoint is after the end of it. And I think we can count that in... We can count that efficiently using order statistics tree, which I've never used before. So let's see if I can figure out how to use it. Okay. Um, oh, will this even like compile on my thing? Okay, so it did compile at least. Um, okay, so tree int left. Oh, does this not? Oh, okay, well. Alright, these compilers are going to be annoying. Maybe I should figure that out after the stream. Um, Maybe I should look up how to do this. Oh, cool. There's a Codeforces article. The number of items that are strictly smaller than our item. Okay. That's cool, I guess. Um, okay. So, um, okay. So I guess I actually want to do, I guess just pairs so I can avoid, the minimum segments that need to be deleted. Okay, so first let's set this to n. It's like our infinity. Now, so the number of items that are strictly smaller than L comma -1 would be the number of stuff that's completely left of this endpoint. And then we want to find the stuff that's completely right of this. So I'll just use negatives here because it's kind of, I mean, it's a little bit of a hack, but oof. Right, I don't really know what that is. maybe I have to do this. Oh. Of course. Okay. So let's pass the samples. Let's try submitting it. This should be pretty fast. Okay, great. So we finished the contest in, I guess, 40 minutes. Um, Pretty good. Let's see where that actually put us on the standings. 25th. Cool. Um, okay, great. So I guess I'll probably figure out these compilers off stream since that's probably not good viewership. uh, but maybe I'll go over all the problems now. If people would be interested in that, definitely, I think that would be fun to do. Yeah, let me know. Contest is over. Let me know. Cool. So let's start with A. Just a suggestion, a YouTube video in your programming setup, especially the terminal tools. Um, oh, Sicilian Salad, thanks for the kind words. Yeah, Cosmic RX. I think my programming setup is pretty simple. Um, it's mostly just some random scripts. It's probably worthwhile to write your own scripts for this, although I must admit I didn't write my own scripts. Maybe I'll post some links to my GitHub or my friend's GitHub where I took things from in a future stream, or maybe later in this stream. Bruno Maletta says you didn't need order statistics tree. Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, I guess so. The point of ordered statistics tree would be when I wanted to be able to insert or remove elements on demand and query this. But since the thing is static, I could have just used sorting the left and n. Sorry, sorting the array and then doing binary search. And kind of funnily, that's what I actually did do for E2. And that for almost the exact same thing. For E2, I wanted to find the number of things that were within a range. And here I wanted to do the same thing, but I just forgot and tried learning something completely new and had some compile errors. Okay, so I guess I'll get started with A and go through. All right. You overkilled an E using merge sort tree. What's your Codeforces handle? Maybe I'll look up your solution. All right, how do I ban this person? All right, thanks, Neil. Bruno Mont. All right, I've heard of merge sort tree, but I've never ever used it before and don't really know what it is. So nice. You also got wrong answer on E1. Uh, Pretty annoying. Oh wait, why can't I see your? Oh, sorry, I can't read your code because I'm still doing a virtual contest. So that would be uh, unethical. Hmm. Wait. Yeah, if you can send the link and then I can open it in incognito, I guess that would be convenient. Um, Cosmic RX. Yeah, there are a lot of people streaming now that you can talk to. Oh, you're sending it as a gist. Very cool. Then I don't need to open it incognito. Okay. Merge sort tree. Okay, so I guess this merge sort tree satisfies the same. This is like the same purpose, right? Which is counting things in a range. At least that's what it looks like. Okay, cool. So this is basically like exactly what you could also do with the binary search or with the ordered statistics tree. Oh, how many values in a range? Okay, never mind. Cool. And then I guess you don't actually need it to be in a range, I think. Oh, I guess you could. Oh, I guess you use this so that you don't have issues with like, we need at least one element from the beginning to avoid overcounting. Okay, that's pretty cool. Maybe I should learn about that sometime. Because I did notice your code didn't have any minus signs, whereas mine did. Okay, so I guess let's go over A. By the way, I'm at 233 followers, so I'm thinking of doing a follower goal at some point, but I don't really have many ideas um, for what I would do. Maybe like chess with viewers or something like that, though I'm not very good at chess. Um, okay, so let's look at this example. So let's just assume for simplicity the answer is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you just look at what we're doing following the process, you would get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can reconstruct this by. Oh, sorry, let me open my code. Oh, Among Us. Oh, that's actually a pretty fun idea. That sounds pretty cool. And yeah, I always change my profile picture in Codeforces based on my current ratings color. So my shirt matches. And then my profile picture here is actually also is an edit as well. Okay. So yeah, so I did this using a deck just because then I didn't have to do any casework or think about indices or anything like that. As you can see, a deck allows you to take things out from the beginning or the end, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to take this, then this, then this, then this, until there's nothing left. Cool. Let's go over B. Last year's substring. Okay. So when did this stream start? Have I missed much? So I started and finished a virtual contest, which was my main goal for the stream, and now I'm going over the problems. Um, it started, I guess, just under an hour ago, like 40, 45, 50 minutes ago. Um, cool. So basically, here you're allowed to delete any substring of a string. So if you imagine just some sample string like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and you can delete any substring, then we're basically taking a prefix plus a suffix and concatenating them. Equivalent. So in order for that to end up being this magic string 2020 that we want, we can just iterate over all the possibilities, which there are only 5. The prefix can be any prefix of 2020, and the suffix has to be exactly the other parts of 2020. And let's just look at my code. So apparently this is wrong, or well, it's technically correct, but this takes the beginning and the end. So this should actually be right, I think. Yeah, but basically here we're just doing a brute force, and if the string is less than the length of 2020 to begin with, um, then there's nothing. Then the answer is definitely no. Because this was just a simple problem, I just kind of wrote it like this. But normally, what I would have done is something like this. And the reason I normally would have written it this way is to avoid any sort of silly mistakes. Like if I mistyped the string 2020 somewhere, or if I put the wrong indexing or the wrong length or something like that. That would be kind of, for a more complicated problem, that would be more inelegant. Oh, so if you just do this, it goes until the end? Good to know, thanks. Yeah, as you can probably tell, I started learning C++ only a couple months ago. Um, Before that, I used Java. So it's not too hard to transition, but there are some things that take a little bit of learning. So yeah, so the reason that I would do target here is that way I don't have this magic number of 4 everywhere, which makes it easy to make a typo. It's much harder to typo size of target, and it's also harder to miscount or make some other silly mistake like that. So in general, I'm a big proponent of using these constants. Competitive programming is kind of known for messy code, but I think it's to use all of these templates to help with the transition. Yeah, for sure. Though I think I'll continue to use the templates forever. um, because in Java I had a lot of templates as well. But it is definitely helpful having these templates already, so I don't have to write them all myself. They were written by Codeforces user Socket, and they're really good. But yeah, I generally like to use constants here because it would be really unfortunate to get a wrong answer because I typed no here and no here or something like that with different capitalization or a typo or anything like that. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of room for. Oh, it's pretty cool that your Vim hides all of it. Yeah, someone commented on that last stream. It's set fold method in regular Vim. I don't understand the if statement inside the for loop in this problem. So what the if statement here is doing is we're taking left characters from the beginning of the. Are they really? Case insensitive. Okay. That's good to know, though it's definitely not something to rely on. Like I saw for this particular problem, it says you can print them however. But yeah, in general, it would suck to make a mistake like that and get wrong answer. But yeah, for Akif, basically what this is doing is it's trying one of these possibilities for taking some letters from the beginning and some letters from the end and then combining them and seeing if they're equal to what we wanted. This is basically an exhaustive search. Cool. Let's go over C. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely good to be safe. I'm pretty sure on @coder once I did get, maybe not, but I think it is possible to get wrong answer on @coder because of case sensitive stuff. Or the other case where I would do this is where it's some kind of game, right? And you have like print like on in if the first player wins and print like Oza if the second player wins or something like that. There was definitely one contest that was kind of notorious because the two players of the game were Taketsukaze and quailty. And quailty also trips some people up because it's one transposition away from quality, which is just an English word. So for stuff like that, also, it's nice to use a constant. But that's just me. I'm very on the rather safe than sorry side. All right. C, actually, I did find a little tricky. So we're already kind of getting into the more thoughtful problems of the contest. So basically what you want to do here is if the sum of the digits has to be equal to some fixed value, and all the digits have to be, oh, well, let's ignore the digits being unique for now. But if the sum of the digits has to be equal to a fixed value, the way that you minimize the number itself is by putting all those digits in as far to the right as possible, or putting all the stuff as far to the right as possible. One way to think about it is, for example, the number 243 equals 200 plus 40 plus 3. So it's equal to 100 plus 100 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So basically you're adding up some number of powers of 10, and the total number of them has to be equal to 9, but you want their actual sum to be minimized because that's the value of the number itself. So clearly the way to do that would be to have 1 plus 1 plus 1 and just add up a bunch of 1s. And then that would lead you to just the number 9. Yeah, so we kind of have some intuition that we want to try to make the units digit 9 or as big as possible so that the other digits can be smaller. And then we want the tens place to be as big as possible so the hundreds digit and above can be smaller. So the first greedy algorithm that comes to mind is just trying this. Try to put as much as you can in the current digit. And that's what I've ended up implementing here. So as long as there's still more summation to do, yeah. Actually, I thought about doing that as well. I don't know if you saw during the stream, but I Googled 9 factorial to just see if the way to do it was to try just to pre-compute the answer for like every single value instead of doing it separately for each of the 50 cases. But then I figured this was simple to code. So what we're doing here is we're kind of greedily taking as much as we can. So, and then first we're trying to take 9, then 8, then 7. Oh yeah, so you mean like you iterate over just all the possible values? Oh, that actually makes sense. That's actually more clever than what I was thinking. When I was saying 9 factorial, I was thinking all the orderings of the digits, which I guess is silly because you would only ever want to sort them. So I guess, so I guess you could also do this pretty nicely in 2 to the 9th time by just checking for each digit whether you use it or not. So that's an alternate solution that requires a little bit less convincing to see that it's correct. But basically that's what we do here. We greedily take the numbers. All right, let's look at D. Add to neighbor and remove. So for this one, I guess I'll bring up the whiteboard again. So in this one, basically what we're doing is we're combining adjacent elements. And if you repeat that many times, you're basically combining ranges into a single element. So, so Dolphin Whale says that won't work for numbers above 45. But for numbers above 45, it's actually impossible because you can't have distinct digits. The maximum sum you can get with all distinct digits is 1 through 9 added up, which is 45. So for numbers above 45, you should print -1 anyway. And I think that whatever method we're describing where you do a brute force, you would just say, if you find nothing, print -1. So I think it would work for numbers above 45. Let me know if I missed something. So Cool. So for this one, we want to take some adjacent ranges and combine them. So for example, let's look at the first input. We have 3, 1, 6, 6, 2. So it turns out here the only thing you can do is combine everything into a single value, which I guess would be 18. Now let's look at the second example. It's 1, 2, 2, 1. So here you can combine these into 3, and you can combine these also into 3. So you can do it by only doing 2 operations. And in this case, the final number of elements you get plus the number of operations equals the existing number of or the original number of elements. So minimizing the number of operations would be the same as maximizing the number of final elements. Is it possible to watch your streams? Great question. An opportunity to plug my YouTube. So I upload my broadcast to YouTube. Right now it is a little bit behind by a couple streams, so I need to catch up. But in general, that's the best place to watch them. If I haven't uploaded something yet, then it should be available on my Twitch profile in past broadcasts. Things only stay there for 14 days according to Twitch, and hopefully I get to everything for YouTube before then. But yeah, definitely subscribe to me on YouTube, and maybe you'll even see my videos in your feed. So the way that I solved this problem, I think could have been better. What I did is I noticed that if you want to have all the same element at the end, that element has to be a divisor of the sum. The reason for that is just if you kind of think about having a bunch of copies of the same element that all add up to the sum. Oh, I guess one important property of these is that the sum is always conserved. No matter how many operations you do, the sum of the array doesn't change because you just replace some set of numbers with their sum. So what I did is I went over all the divisors of the sum, which is kind of funny, right? Because now here, this loop iterates through everything up to the square root of the maximum possible sum. Dono Fun 1011, thanks for the follow, and Bruno Maletta, thanks for the follow. And nice job on this contest. So I think a nicer way to do this actually would be to consider. So here what I did is this is like almost a brute force, right? I go through all the possible divisors. I go through all the possible divisors of the sum, and then I and sum over I are the possible divisors, and I check those as the target, and then I see if it's possible to get that as the target. But I think there's a nicer way to do this where instead you consider all the possible answers. So the smallest answer would be 0, and the largest answer would be n minus 1. So the number of blocks at the end is going to be equal to n minus answer. So is that right? Yeah. So if you do 0 operations, you have n blocks. And then if it doesn't evenly divide into that number of blocks, then we can continue. And otherwise, the target would be sum over the number of blocks. And then you can try testing the target. Whoops. And I can just make this an int. Okay. And then here I'd want this to return a bool. And this is a little nicer because I don't have like these infinity magic numbers. And then I don't even need to print anything here because it'll always terminate at some point in this array, or in this loop. And so what we're doing here to test whether something's possible is that once we know the sum, we know that some prefix has to add up to that target, then once we found that prefix, we can kind of cut it off and not think about it anymore, and then we know the same must remain true for the rest of the array. So we're basically looping through. There's probably a nicer way to do this loop, but let's try running this. Solve D with much larger bounds. All right, maybe I'll try that on stream after this. Uh, much larger bounds being n less than 1,000,000 and AI less than 10 to the 12th. All right, those numbers are too big for me, but I'll try thinking about it. All right, so that's D. Oh, that reminds me, I wanted to look at the comments for E, but I guess I'll do that after. Shouldn't this new solution work? So the problem with this new solution is that it's n squared time. Oh, yeah, okay. I loop over every possible value of answer, which is O of n. Oh, I guess it's not n squared time. Hold on. Well, if the sum is somehow equal to like the LCM of 1 through n, then, excuse me, then that would work. Or that would be possibly a problem, but let's see. So this loops n times, but it only does this sometimes. And this takes O of n. O n times cube root of n. Is cube root because that's like a bound on the number of divisors or something? That's interesting. Yeah, because my code has some weird like divisor stuff going on. It's a little bit less straightforward to analyze the runtime compared to most like Codeforces problems. Yeah. So it's divisors of something up to 10 to the 18th. Okay. Cool. Oh, Sabir asks, I want to learn DFS and BFS, how to learn to implement the code. For that, I would recommend if you have a competitive programming background and you want to attack it from that perspective, I would recommend maybe Googling some easy DFS and BFS problems. You can probably go on Codeforces. I'll try it. You can probably even go on Codeforces and search for DFS and similar. Oh, there's no breadth first search tag, but DFS and similar, you can search for that and then sort by rating and then look for ones that are really easy. All right, let's do E2. This I think was kind of a fun one. Okay. So the first observation we want to make for E2 is that the original order of the array A doesn't actually matter. But how many of those divisors are between 1 and 1,000,000? I'll type it in the chat for context. Okay. So what we basically want to do here, I guess let's look at one of the examples. We'll start with the first one, and I'll sort the numbers because that doesn't actually change the answer. So k equals 2, m equals 3. So the idea here is given some window like this, we know that if you pick any elements in that window, you'll get a valid answer because everything in that window is within k of each other. So this is v and this is v plus k. So And here I'm referring to the values, not the indices. So what we're going to do here is, one problem with this is we could have overcounting pretty easily. For example, if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you had k equals 4, m equals 2, and you considered this range, anything in this range will give you a valid answer. So one such valid answer would be 3, 4. But the same is also true of this range, and 3, 4 shows up in that range as well. So one way around this is, for each tuple, we can only count it when we're in a range such that the left endpoint of the range is a value that's actually used. And the reason this works is because that tuple so we're counting things that are in this range 2 through 6 such that we actually use a 6. I'll erase this real quick. Or sorry, so we actually use a 2. So the range 1 through 5, we would only count things that start with a 1, and those things couldn't be in this range from 2 to 6. And the range 3 through 7, we couldn't count things that start with a 2. Oh, Rip Yay, thanks for the follow. Hello from Kazakhstan. Oh, that's awesome. We really got a lot of international viewers, or international from my perspective. From each viewer's perspective, they're not international. Yeah, so what we want to do here is we want to count the number of ways in a given range to pick out elements from that range and pick at least one element that's equal to the start of the range. So, I'll go to the next page, and I'll bring up my code. Oh, Gyro, thanks for the follow. Or is it Hero? E2, continued. So if we imagine this range 1, 2, or this array 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we imagine something like k equals, well, I was going to say 4, but I'll actually just say 2. Then what we can do is, starting from each distinct value, so like starting from 2, we can say anything up to 4 is good. So we want to count the number of ways to pick stuff in this range so that you pick at least one of the 2s. So the simplest way that I thought of to do that was to count the number of ways to pick anything from this range, which is the size of the range, choose m, and then subtract the number of ways to pick any combination of elements where you can't use any 2s. So that would be the size of the range minus the number equal to start, choose m. And that's exactly what you see here. We count the number of ways to pick m things from the whole range, and then we subtract the stuff that doesn't use any of the elements that are equal to the start of the range. And here, in order to quickly find the beginnings and ends of the ranges, we just use lower bound and upper bound, which they're just convenient ways to binary search for exactly what you want. Cool. All right, so now time to read the comment that was linked in the chat about E, because yeah, as I mentioned during the virtual contest, I did have a complaint about E, which was E1 was not a strict subtask of E2. So this was super annoying because what we had to do for E1 was we had to change how we wrote the input. and we had to not use mod nums, so then we had to also make sure we didn't overflow with longs. And none of the samples were big enough that whether you used mod nums or not made a difference. So if all these answers are this small, then 15 mod a billion 7 is the same as just 15. Where are you from? I live in New York right now. I'm from the US. So, and like we can see this from my submissions, right? Like I submitted E1 and I got wrong answer because I had the wrong input format because you can't read M and K anymore. You have to hard code them in. And then I got wrong answer in test 5. And if you fail the samples, you actually don't get penalized. So in the standings, I only had one wrong submission. But if you fail sample 5, you do get or test 5 rather, you do get penalized. So it was kind of annoying. Oh, Ripier, are you from New York too? That's awesome. Uh, yeah, there's gonna be snow tomorrow. I guess there's a winter storm coming up, so hopefully, hopefully it's not too bad. Though, people aren't really going outside these days anyway. All right, so let's see. Give you points for both versions. Oh, that would be kind of cool. Yeah, because I actually almost forgot to submit for E1. Though I think in a real contest, I wouldn't really do that. What time do you usually stream? The day of the week varies, but I typically stream in the evenings, like around this time of day, whatever that is for you. For me, it's around 9 p.m. to midnight. Oh, nice. So you can get TLE hacked. 5 demands is switching to Toki and Code Chef. That's very cool. Yeah, okay. So E was super annoying with this issue that they had. All right. So for F, I use this weird data structure called an order statistics tree, and then in the chat, I was informed this was not necessary after I finished it. So let's try recoding. Oh, I forgot to display this, but um, yeah, this is what I was explaining for E2. You have this range, and then you have these two binomial coefficients, which you can compute efficiently if you have, for example, if you have a pre-written modnum library, binomial coefficients are a good thing to put into that. You can just do it with factorials and inverse factorials. All right, so let's do F. So I'll draw one of the examples for F. So you have 1 to 2, 3 to 8, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, and 9 to 10. So what we want to do here is minimize the number of things that we get rid of. Yeah, so the implementation is not that weird. It is just a BST, but I meant that the way of including it in my code was weird. I had to include some extra stuff, and then it wouldn't compile in Clang, so that's what my Vim uses for syntax highlighting. So I got all these syntax highlighting issues, but then it did compile in GCC, so at least that was okay. Um, like, oh, wait. So now, oh yeah, so yeah, I'm getting all these highlights, super annoying. Okay, so here's what we want to do for this problem. We want to find the minimum number of segments to delete so that all the remaining segments are covered by a single segment in the set. So what we can do is we can consider each candidate single segment one at a time. And for that segment being the covering segment, we can look at how much stuff we'd have to delete. So in this case, let's say that this one was the special segment. Then we'd actually have to delete everything else. So that would give you a score of 4. Now, if this one were your special segment, you would have to delete the segment at the beginning and the segment at the end. So the answer would be 2. And you can follow the same process for some of the other segments. Like if this one were your starting segment, you'd have to delete, let's see, this one. You could keep this one, and you have to delete this and this. So the answer would be 3. So you can iterate through all the segments and try to figure this out, and then in the end, you figure out that this is the smallest one, 2, for this example. So the way that we can count this efficiently is we could put all the starting and ending endpoints into some sort of data structure that lets you query the number of things less than something, or query a range, or something like that. And one way to do that is using ordered statistics tree. Another one is, I guess, just an array and binary search. Oh, Light Sam, thanks for the follow. Cool. So the way that we want to do this is we want to count the number of things that end. So if something isn't covered by a special segment, it either ends before it, like this one, or it starts after it, like this one. And luckily, it's not possible for a segment to do both. So we can count these two cases separately and add them without having to worry about subtracting the intersection. So I implemented that here using this data structure. But I think it'll probably be instructive for me and for the chat to quickly re-implement it using without using this data structure. Since it's always good to learn how to do kind of elementary solutions if you can. So what we're going to want to do here is figure out what all the left endpoints are and all the right endpoints. Then we're going to sort them, and then we're going to, I'll just copy this loop. For each special segment, we're going to count, we have to add 2 terms. We need to count the number of things that are too far to the left. And for that, what we want is the right endpoint needs to be strictly before our current segment's left endpoint. So the way that we can do that is we can find the, what is the easiest way to do that? Well, we want to find the first element that's equal to, we want to find the first right endpoint that is greater than or equal to our left endpoint. So that would be lower bound of the right endpoints for left, minus right up again, of course. Oh, I guess I'll move my whiteboard so that it's still visible. Cool. So, and then this would get the first good segment. So we want to add -1 to, or I guess, let's see. This would give us the index of the first good segment, which is the same as the count of things to the left of it. So that's fine. And then to count the number of things that are too far right, we want to find the first left endpoint that's strictly greater than R. And we want to find right or left dot, oops, left dot end minus that. And then cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, so Neil and I are twins. That's fun. Okay, so let's try running this new version. Oops, I don't want to ruin the code. I want to run it. Okay, cool. So this passes as well, and it's definitely a bit cleaner. Um, the only thing you have to be careful of here is lower bound versus upper bound, because one of them is uh, greater than or equal to, and one of them is greater. And then you also just have to be careful to make sure you don't have any off by one errors with counting. Um, this one actually worked out pretty nicely. You don't have to do any extra plus ones or minus ones to make it work out. Cool. So that's all the problems from this contest. Do people have any questions about this contest? I guess let's look at the standings and see. Let's see. If I did E1 faster, would I have been any higher? Oh, wow. I actually don't remember how many points you even get for a wrong answer, but it seems like not that much higher. It seems like some people were really fast, finishing the whole contest in 18, 19, 22, 20. Um, cool. Let's see. Why did you switch from Java to C++? I feel like I could have saved a little bit of time on F. Oh, you mean like if I thought of implementing it better? Yeah, I guess there were a ton of problems where I could have saved a little bit of time, but E1 is kind of one where I feel like it was the contest fault rather than mine. Not to make excuses, of course, and not to care too much about my standings on a virtual Div 3, but um, but yeah, I did think that E1 E2 thing was super weird. Um, yeah, so why did I switch from Java to C++? Maybe I should even just add this to my FAQ on my Twitch page or something. But basically, the main reasons were sometimes you TLE when you get like basically the same code in Java instead of C++, and also writing C++ is a little bit more convenient. There's more resources to take code from or to learn from, and the fact that you have like STL is I think better than the Java built-in stuff. It has a bit more functionality, and the other big thing is that Java generics are really slow because they use objects. And a lot of the time, if your code uses objects instead of primitives, it could cause a time limit exceeds issue. This most frequently comes up with geometry problems for whatever reason. Maybe because in Java I have like a point class, which is a lot of overhead. Um, Ayu Prasad, thanks for the follow. Sabir asked top three languages for you. I don't know. I guess I like C++ and Java, and I also like Python. Pretty generic answer. I guess hot take, but probably lukewarm or cold take. I don't really like Go. Yeah, Java big integer is nice, but you never really want to use it for competitive programming except like very rare cases. Usually you just do things modularly anyway. Uh, do you know Hindi? No, I don't. I can probably understand the absolute basics of spoken Hindi, but not really. And I do understand a bit of spoken Gujarati, but I also can't speak it. Um, did I go to Bronx Sci? No, I grew up in Maryland and I went to Blair, which is another kind of math and science high school. And then, yeah, and then Andrew says C++ is a better language. Yeah, I think I definitely kind of agree. Oh, the other thing about C++ that's so nice is it's like duck typing. So you can basically use a C++ class that has the fields or methods or members that you want. Yeah, that's right. Colin is also from Blair, although we didn't overlap. We graduated about 10 years apart. uh, Montgomery, Blair. Just cool. Let's see. Do I know anyone from Kazakhstan? I don't know anyone from Kazakhstan other than I think you. Uh, if you could say that I know you. Vaishant Makan, thanks for the follow. Um, do I know Slava? Who is that a I actually don't know if that's a programming language or a competitive programmer from Kazakhstan, just from the name. Hey Larry. Oh, V1337. Thanks for the follow. Ah, cool. Yeah, the Div 3 is over, so no spoilers here. I guess, I have a problem up, so. Oh, Figma is awesome. I I've used it a few times, though not really for just, I guess technically there's time left in the contest, but we're done looking at the problems. Um, yeah, I've used Figma for like solving puzzles, like puzzle hunt stuff. It's really nice for that, which is maybe not its primary use case, but uh, but it's pretty nice because if you have multiple people, you can like drag and drop things around or point to things in real time. Yeah, so the messages on my screen are delayed by the same amount that the stream is, which is delayed just because it takes a while to process the video and then like send it to Twitch and then send it to your screen compared to chat. Yeah, I think I have low latency mode enabled, but there's still some latency. Probably especially if you're further from a Twitch server, though I don't really know how important that would be. Probably a lot less important compared to the like video processing latency. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the real Eknerwala from Codeforces. Um, do I stream regularly about competitive programming? Pretty regularly so far. I've done it a few times since getting the ability to stream. Let's see. Am I doing Advent of Code? Oh yeah, I might do that at 12, though I'm not really sure if there's any logistical issues with streaming it. So I guess probably not. For people who do that, do you like delay your stream or something like that? Really like the way you stream. It's pretty entertaining. That's really nice to hear. Thank you so much. If you could let me know what is entertaining about it, I'll try to do more of that. Um, but otherwise, I'll just try to do more of the same generally. Yeah, I think Eknerwala is actually just like doing really well at Advent of Code. Let's look at the leaderboard. Yeah, I think that's the same Larry from Top Coder. Whoops, that's not the leaderboard. Wow. Yeah, so Eknerwala is third. Pretty good. Let's see. Ah, Neil is also in the leaderboard just from the people in chat. Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely did try to explain them a little bit. Would people be interested in like a couple games of chess with viewers? Um, Note, I'm not. I'm pretty average. I guess that's a fair way to say it. Not like terrible, but I'm definitely not a top chess player. I'm bad at chess, but I'd watch. All right. I'll paste a. I guess I'll paste an invite link in the chat, and then whoever clicks it can beat me in a game. Let me just log into Lichess. Yeah, I'm gonna skip the harder version of D for now. Oh, let me change this to light beam. I don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube at all. I remember this one at my middle school, actually, almost every student except for me learned how because everybody else learned it in like the same class, and then I wasn't in that class. Let's see. Play with a friend. I guess I can play 5-3 maybe. That's like not crazy fast. All right, good luck on Advent of Code. Hmm, it's weird. Oh, it's system testing. All right, hopefully this is someone in this stream. So I definitely see this is a threat that I need to be pretty aware of. Um, all right, I guess I'll try picking up this pawn and attack the queen. Ah, nice. I'm glad I speak in an understandable way. It's definitely one of my goals for the stream. All right, so this is a pretty bad move because I'm getting forked here. Maybe this saves the knight. Can you play bullet? I I sometimes do play. I actually usually play 2+1 bullet, but If I do that, I definitely won't be able to explain like anything. All right, I guess I'll attack the queen to try to, I don't know, try to dislodge this pin a little. All right, it's not super dislodged. All right, so I guess this, I mean, this is kind of silly, but I guess this technically breaks the pin. Now I have a choice of which knight to move out. Oh, nice. I guess Larry is gone, but thanks for the follow, Larry. Yeah, I guess there was actually no point in this whatsoever. I was thinking of attacking here, but I didn't even notice. Like, there's so much stuff covering it. I guess I'll just accept that I was wrong and move back. I'm out of here. So I don't really know what this threatens or like does. I guess there's this, but it's pretty covered. Maybe I'll just make this knight move again. Kushi20, thanks for following. All right, so here I think I'll just make this trade, and then this also pins the queen. So I think it can win the queen. I'll just pre-move that if they capture back. Since why not? I wonder if Blorp is still in the chat. He's like a chess master compared to me. Actually, so if he moves, so if my opponent moves here, I think I just have mate, or actually, yeah, that would have just been mate. Hmm. I think this is checkmate. Cool. All right, let's see if anyone else wants to play one. Whoops, that's not the right. Oh, I guess should I analyze it? Or maybe just look at this analysis? I definitely won't be able to provide much insight on chess compared to competitive programming, but I always like to look at these graphs mostly for, I don't know, it's like a nice looking graph. All right, I'll try playing Game of Bullet. Oh, Laplace 3. Good game. Thanks for. All right, let's see. I don't know. I guess this is kind of a pretty. I don't know. Usually I like to see where there's a big cliff in the graph because it looks like there's something like super interesting. But this one didn't really have like a big cliff. Wait, is this even the right game? I'm so confused. Oh, I was playing black, so like I can't understand what's going on because everything looks backward. Oh, Cyanide, thanks for the follow. All right, so this is a game of Bullet as requested. So hopefully I don't flag in the middle of the game. Or well, I guess I'll only flag at the end of the game, so that's good. Yeah, and I only ever play Bullet with my phone, so let me open that on my phone. But the pieces should still move on the computer. Hmm. Maybe I could have done these in another order and it would have been better. Yeah, this is actually pretty bad. Wait, I actually didn't understand that move. Oh, I guess to move the pawn. Or to have the option to move the pawn? I'm not really sure. My opponent is way higher rated than me, so, maybe these are just moves that I can't comprehend. Hmm. Oh, was that bad? Well, I guess I can undouble my pawns. What am I doing? Whoops. All right. Yeah. um, is this what happened to the div 3? Oh yeah. Yeah, the div 3 was over. My virtual my virtual is still going. Um, uh, let's see. Yeah, who was that just with? Definitely a good game. I think there were a couple missed wins there, maybe on both sides. At the end, yeah, I definitely kind of choked under time pressure, and uh, by the time we got to the end, I was like, well, this is a lot closer than this, so I guess I'll just take the draw. um, yeah, definitely like this is a win, right? When you have a queen versus like some pawns. Um, Back around this point, these rook trades were kind of nice. I was kind of hoping to like cheese out some kind of checkmate where like my opponent goes into the corner or yeah, and then trading the queen for both pawns would have been good. I kind of feel like once you have a queen, like okay, my mistake here was like I feel like somewhere here I should have been able to just put the queen here and then once the queen is here, like I think if I just did this, right, then like now I just win. Like I can just let the queen completely sit, and these pawns can't move. That would have probably been the one of the simpler ways to do it in terms of how much I have to think. um, and then also, yeah, at some point later when there were two, I can take on. Wait, sorry. What position is that referring to? Oh, like I guess here it's saying I could have moved here and then taken the pawn and then forced the king to block the pawn and gotten some moves. That would have been good too. Um, yeah, definitely at this point, like there definitely was a missed win. Um, or like a bunch of different ways to win. Oh, apparently even here there was a not there. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to follow this because there's so much of a delay. Like when you say not there, it's about whatever I actually looked at like a while ago. But yeah, actually here, this is a really clever move that like, I would not have seen under this time pressure or possibly ever. But I guess the idea is that when you go here, then the king moves, then you can take the pawn and the queen, and then you just win like this. So it's like a little small spike. But yeah, I guess just take the draw. um, all right, I'll play one more game of Bullet, I think. It definitely was kind of fun to see whether I could play fast enough. Couple moves after you took d4, you either just take b5. Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. Can I watch the stream again? Yeah, so the old videos are on my Twitch, and also on my YouTube. I'm playing against Anonymous, so no idea what kind of level this game is going to be. Though, probably better than me. My rating's a little below the average. Um, yeah, so I think once you move, the timer starts. Oh, that's cool. Nice. Um, all right. All right, yeah. So that I guess wins my knight too. So I guess it doesn't actually win my knight if I do this, but that's, not what I want to be doing with my king. I can always castle manually still, so, life's good. My knight feels like it's good there, but it's so much work to keep it there that, like, I don't know. Hi, am I? Oh yeah, thanks for the follow. Um, didn't really get that, but right. I've castled manually. Life's good. Oh my god. Um, I don't know why I traded there. I want to be not trading as much as possible, right? To try to preserve some kind of winning chances. All right, that was a not well thought out tactic. All right. Good game. Yeah, whoever that was definitely shouted out in the chat. That was, pretty much destruction. Like the problems for me started pretty early when I missed this a pawn fork that was like here or something around there. Maybe it was here. Yeah, I think it was a pawn fork here. Oh, I can actually just go back and look. Yeah, okay. So if I just like didn't take this, it wouldn't have set up the pawn fork. Um, and then, things kind of went downhill from there. At some point, I lost this knight as well. I tried to, just, I don't know, get some kind of swindle with a lucky checkmate. Okay, cool. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I think I'm going to end this stream now. I guess let's see. Oh, system testing is still going, though a lot of people are. Oh, what does it suggest? Like, after the fork, what should I have done? That's a good question. I guess it's suggesting that I take here, which is what I did, I think. Yeah. No, that's not what I did. Oh, right. Because, like, the way that I did it, I kind of moved this. So I didn't actually take the pawn. If I do this, I at least get the pawn, which is good. Um, yeah, all right. Oh, wait, I'm confused now. So this local stockfish is saying to go back. Oh, I see. It's like deciding what's best still. But yeah, I guess either go back and then take the pawn this way or take the pawn directly are the two options that it thinks are good. I can only analyze this at a very basic level, like, oh, I get a pawn. There's probably something more sophisticated to think about. I guess like if the pawn goes here and then I take like, now I have doubled pawns, which I've heard is bad. If you get to like an endgame. Or probably even in the mid game, doubled pawns are easier for your opponent to like pick off. But yeah, anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is definitely a fun stream. Got to do a virtual contest, go over the problems, general Q&A, and then playing chess with viewers was actually pretty fun. And it seems like a good amount of viewers play chess or, you know, are knowledgeable about chess. uh, yeah, what else? Let's see. Yeah, definitely follow me if you haven't already. I'm at 248, so only two more to 250. Um, and yeah, I'll still have to think of a follower goal. Maybe Among Us, like someone suggested, would be a cool follower goal. And definitely, let's see. Yeah, and definitely subscribe to my YouTube. I'm gonna upload this broadcast there, and I'm a couple broadcasts behind, but I'll upload those. And on YouTube, they have timestamps, so they're super easy to watch. You can skip right to the problem that you're curious about. But yeah,